Welcome back to Non-Niche. This is Raquel. I'm super excited to share with you Desiree from Lacapture Visuals. She is a wonderful person. She does quality work and she now works with Adobe Max, and she just got done doing a concert for G-Eazy. She's doing so many great things, honestly. When I first met her through Zoom a couple months ago, I found her on TikTok and I was just like, oh my gosh, I think he'll be a wonderful person to bring on the platform to discuss how you got started and stuff like that. And then I don't know what happened. Once we talked, she just kind of blew up and it's great. And she's definitely in her beginning seasons of abundance, and she's doing so many great things and also teaching other people how to create aesthetically pleasing visuals, cinematic tones, even for video. And I think that's needed because sometimes, for me, I basically with my cell phone, a mini tripod, and two big lights. And sometimes I need tips too. So she always, on her YouTube channel, she always says quality things and how to create the best quality content. So I'm not going to say any more spoilers, but let's tune into the video. We are.
Hello.
Hi.
Dude, how have you been?
Girl, I've been good. How about you? You've been on the move. The move. I've been watching everything you've been doing. I was just this girl is taking complete off. She's off the rails. She's making so much waves. I was just super stoked that we finally got a day and time booked, because I was just you know what? I don't care what I'm doing, but we're gonna have to lock this in because she's gonna be booked for the next 6 months. I know it.
No, dude, I appreciate you. I know it's been a lot of back and forth, but you were super flexible, so
yeah,
good for that.
Yeah. But how have you been? Everything's looking great, and congrats on your gig with G-Eazy and Adobe.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty awesome.
Dude, thank you. No, it's been abundant. I know I left my full-time job a few months ago, and it was a huge risk to decide to do that. But yo, it's been really good ever since. So if anybody's afraid to do something, you gotta take the leap, man.
Yeah. I mean, you're definitely all about it, and that's one reason why I definitely wanted to reach out to you, because as we discussed before, it's kind of hard to differentiate yourself on social media and produce quality content. So you have an aesthetic and then also a strategic way to help people who do it at home and teach them tips and tricks. And I would love to know your mindset of how you got started, just because you didn't know it was going to develop into the career that you are now, where you could quit your job.
Dude, yeah, I remember it was probably literally exactly a year ago from today. I was still trying to get to know TikTok. I was like, oh, this is cool, whatever. I've always had a passion for wanting to teach in any way. I mean, not become a teacher, but take what I do as a filmmaker and pass on the knowledge that I've learned, and just to be the person that I wish I had as a mentor when I first started. So I set a goal of hitting 10K on TikTok last year, and I was like, how do I do that? So I'm like, okay, well, I'm really into gimbals right now. Let me do 10 videos for how certain gimbal techniques that people could do. I literally, in the middle of my 9 to 5, I mean, I was working from home, but I left to go to the park down the street. I hit my homie. I was like, yo, I need you to be my subject. We're just gonna film this real quick. I filmed it on my small point and shoot while I used my Sony. And I was like, this is gonna get me to 10K. If I'm consistent with it and I'm committed to doing this, then let's do it. And I just started by having fun with it. And I think that's the key. A lot of people get lost when they feel like they're forced to do something because they have to do it rather than wanting to do it. So I think that's really important.
I think so too, because like consistency means something completely different, especially in the technological part of the world where people just post out like, oh, I'm gonna post like 5 videos, but it doesn't really engage. It's just like posting random stuff. But you have a tendency to post like quality material, and I think that is your hook. I was looking at it was like an interview about like how to get views past like the 200 to 300 viewer mark. Is like people have to work on their hooks, but you're just you. Like I remember our just like our Zoom call, I was just like, this is just the same girl. Carries the same energy. Like, she doesn't need a hook. Like your quality of work speaks for itself. And I think that you're doing a great job and you're helping a lot of people, not just like with photography, but also just the mindset of like starting in a very saturated like market, really. Right. So tell me how like your first like, oh my gosh, this is like the first step of starting big. Like I know it wasn't G-Easy, but it had to be like just like that kind of like confirmation from the universe saying like, hey, you're on the right track.
Oh, that's a good question, because to be honest, I've thought about that because I haven't really allowed myself to sit and take in all this abundance and opportunities, because like it's so go in a way. But I think a moment where I did realize it though was when I have an idea. I want to do a video on like, an idea. So I had to pull screenshots of emails that I've had and I've gotten for all these opportunities. I think that's when it hit me. I was like, wow, like whatever the fear I had when I wanted to jump and like leave my 9-to-5 job, like it was definitely confirmation that I did the right thing when I saw all the screenshots that I had, and I was like, holy shit, I did all that. Like that's wild. It's crazy, and it's only gonna get like better from here no matter what. So
I mean, I think that's kind of like normal nowadays too, because like once you do kick off, like that's something that's within your purpose, you kind of forget. And I have a very bad tendency to do this. Like I don't look how far like I've come, so I'm just like always going and doing and stuff. And then like my mom's like, have you checked in like how far you come yet? Because it's just like I need to do more. And you're just like and they're just like, oh. I'm like, yeah, I did make some moves. I made some scary moves. Some very scary moves. Yeah. But one thing that I really like, and it was like one of people that are here, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'll also have that link below. But I was watching your YouTube, and it was the one that I used for your promotion. It's just the imposter syndrome. That one really kind of touched home for me. So I want to ask you like how you personally deal with it, with imposter syndrome, with starting this visual production, as well as just maintaining your inner peace, and also sharing your abundance with others, regardless if it's opportunities or just word of mouth.
Oh man, I mean, when I first started years ago, imposter syndrome was a freaking, it was bad. It was bad. Look at someone else's work and you're like, oh, how come I'm not there? Or why isn't mine good enough? Or like blah blah blah. Like we don't really factor in that we could look at imposter syndrome in a different light, right? We could look at it like as if it was our friend trying to kind of hone us in and being like, you could do better. So it's kind of more auto-suggesting, instead of looking at imposter syndrome like telling you, oh, you're not good enough, this and that. Tell yourself, no, I'm doing the best that I could every single time. Like if you don't like a certain thing that you did for this project, like I truly believe that you will get better by looking at it and being like, I'll do better next time, instead of being like, nah, this ain't good enough. Like, and then kind of digging that hole deeper for yourself. And then all of a sudden it's hard to get out. So before you get to that point, just auto suggestion, right? It's kind of, that's that part where I kind of keep myself accountable to mentally be healthy, because it is important, especially in
Mhm.
this industry as creatives. And it's such a big thing nowadays. Like social media is blowing up with so many other creators, and
Yeah.
it's so easy to just look at it and be like, how come I'm not this good? But you could take that, be inspired by it, and try it out yourself. Like that's how you grow, and that's how you end up kind of becoming the best version of you, is looking at it from a different light.
I completely agree. And, the one thing that can just change like your whole career or your whole life is just changing your thoughts and how you process it. And
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes when we do get our negative thoughts, I think it's important to acknowledge it, because if you push it down, it's just going to come full force, you know, and it's going to be rash. It's going to be like a wake up call. But like
Mm-hmm.
if you acknowledge, just like, yeah, I'm a little scared. Like it was like where I was like doing this, like non niche. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like, I'm in a crappy spot.
Yeah.
Like I lost my job, and I'm gonna reach out to creative people and see
Yeah.
how that goes. And like nobody's gonna talk to you, stranger. I'm like, oh.
Oh
So I mean, I don't know. I just feel like those things are natural, and people are thinking like, well, you can't have negative thoughts. And like negative thoughts happen. It's just that you
no.
don't have to put too much energy within it. And I see
Yeah.
you push through that all the time. And what I like about your content is that you keep the very beginning of how you started, so you can see like the full journey, especially on YouTube. It's not
Yeah.
like just like, oh, this is how I started, where you're like really good. Like people see the stages of the beginning, and I think that's really wonderful, that you keep
Yeah.
that, because starting out with the camera
Mm-hmm.
and like using your phone and then graduating to like a DSLR also, which is very intimidating. So
Yeah.
phone quality and camera are like two different things. So no, one more thing that I definitely want to ask you is, I don't know if you can talk about it, because I know it's like typical contracts and stuff. It's just like, what was your mindset when Adobe reached out to you?
Honestly, it was dope. I think
Yeah.
at first, though, it was obviously going through agencies, because that's how it typically is, but still being able to work or create content for the Adobe pages, it's
Hmm.
kind of unreal. It's very surreal. And what I was saying earlier, where I haven't really given myself the time to sit and process it, um, yeah, it's just kind of amazing. And being able to have the opportunity to go to Adobe Max and actually work directly with
Hmm.
them and make a bigger impact in person kind of shows. That is the confirmation that I
Yeah.
have made the right, like everything is tenfolding how it should be. And even if it's not, I'm kind of accepting everything for what it is
Hmm.
and just learning through the process. But surreal would be my word for that. Yeah.
I'm sure, because you use their products religiously, so they might as well pay you. I'm putting that as a plug, so
Yeah.
I got you, girl. But no, I think that was just really cool when I was reading your article, and I was just like, man, she's come so far and she's doing so much, and I know this is just like not even the very beginning. This is like a prelude to like
Yeah.
all your major steps. So I'm glad I caught you on your journey in the very beginning stages. So I was just like, she's gonna take off. I don't know when I'm gonna like talk to this girl. No, but where I know last time we talked, we were speaking about like your goals like in the future, where it doesn't typically have like a timeline, but I know you wanted to do like something like with like a big production.
Yeah.
Have you kind of expanded on that with like the different opportunities to show like you had a little bit more behind the scenes like stage production, like
Mhm.
working with G-Eazy, and we're gonna talk about like how that came about if we
Yeah.
can. No, but just like you kind of get different segments of like what you like and what you dislike to move forward in your goals. Like, has anything changed, or have you expanded on that idea?
Yeah. I mean, there are some things where I kind of catch myself not really feeling like a certain project. But goal wise, I definitely still see myself wanting to DP or direct like a super huge show or a film. I'm currently working on a documentary series right now, so that's really
Yeah.
dope. Um, but as of right now, social media is working for me. So I'm not forcing anything. If if and when it aligns where I'm called to be on a huge set to DP, then that's when it happens. But for now, I'm really kind of just taking it day by day. Like I have my goals of like, wanting to make an impact on like the filmmaking community, especially women in film or people who are just getting started. I'm very passionate about wanting to let them know like you don't need the biggest and baddest gear,
Yeah.
like I don't know. I just have those general goals of like wanting to make an impact. And obviously, my one specific goal is YouTube
Yeah.
and being monetized.
Yeah.
So that's a really, really big one. But as for now, generally, like I see myself on set still. As for now, what I'm doing is I'm happy with it as well. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And I love that you're doing that because sometimes like, we have one plan and then you get pushed to something, completely different, which is
Yeah.
great in a way, but not gonna lie, it is a little bit scary. You're just like, well, I thought I was gonna be doing this, but now I really enjoy doing this.
Yeah.
But I think keeping yourself flexible and open.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people kind of miss the openness to open to receive certain things because there's just like, well, that wasn't my plan. But this is also another way to get to the door to what
Yeah.
you're trying to. So you do have to be open and honest with yourself and see like, does this really align to me? It align to like my vision? Because when I started out with photography, I was just like, oh, I'm gonna photograph everything. I hated photographing weddings. I was like, I did not like it.
Yeah.
I was like, so I don't like this, but it's like moving and trial and error, but it's like a natural flow that you definitely have to take.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important to have, especially as a mindset, as a creative, we're so already critical of ourselves.
Right.
And you kind of have to have
Sure.
like that open space to just like, be cool.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine. We're just gonna like, sometimes you just have to let it be for a second, then go back to it.
Yeah.
And like it doesn't have to be pushed out so much where it's just like I don't know where it's gonna land, but I'm just gonna push it out when it's not your best.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think the way you take time with each project, I think it shows very well on that.
Thank you. I think that's a big thing too that people should take into account is like, especially if you're just starting out with anything. How I used to just pick up on projects that I didn't really know I didn't want to do. Well, obviously I understand that now, but I was picking up events to shoot and like weddings or this and that, and doing anything and everything when you're starting out gives you the understanding of what works for you, what you like, what you don't like. But yeah, what you were saying to your point is like people don't really give themselves that opportunity because they're like, nah, it's not on my written plan.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so just being open-minded to it is a big thing.
Exactly. So now to the fun part. G-Eazy, who is one of my favorite. How did that even? Are we allowed to talk about this? Because I'm going to ask. I have to ask.
Yeah, it's passed already. I mean, so I've been in contact with this gentleman. He runs an agency where he kind of runs their social accounts, and he's just been peeping my work for a very long time. Actually, like we didn't even meet in person until that first time. So that's kind of how I got into the door with like filming with G-Eazy, and honestly, he is so down to earth. He's dope. Yeah, and he's just like, because that was his first concert, even though it was kind of small. Like it was his first concert back from being MIA for so long.
Yeah,
no
the hiatus.
Yeah, so just to see that he was very, like, human. Like he was nervous, like right before the show, and it was just so genuine. And those are the type of, because I've been with other artists like literally that the week prior to that, it was just very much artists who have been in the game for so long but really just do it just to do it instead of doing it for the fans. So seeing that different side of it was really dope. But that's kind of how I got started. Was just this guy, he's been following me also my socials and was like, you're super dope, want to work with you, here's something that you could film for social. Yeah
That's awesome.
So
congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And that goes to the fact, it's just like keep putting yourself out there, even if you're not, you're just like, I don't know who's going to see it. Like the first thing is like you're always seen by yourself because you're always trying to be better than you were like the day before. I think a lot of creatives need to understand that it's just like you're not trying to be creative for other people. You're always going to find your audience. I'm like, not everybody's gonna like you. If everybody likes you, you're not doing it right. Or
Yeah.
it's just gonna be like short lived, you know?
Yeah.
And when people look at your work, you don't know who's watching. Like, you might post like something and may get like a little view or something, or a little like, but people are consistently looking for like, hey, this person has like an interesting eye. Or like, even when I'm scouting to reach out to people, and I have to explain like I'm not spam, you know, because I'm just DMing when they don't have an email. Like, it's important to have an email in your bios, everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just like, you never know who's watching, and you know, just keep putting yourself out there, because it shows that you're determined, but you're determined for yourself. So it shows to other people in other companies that, hey, like, she's accountable, she's consistent, she's, you know, showing up as her best self every single time.
Yeah.
So you're not going to miss out. So I think that's amazing.
Thank you. I think that's super important to your point, is like just to be you. And I know the hardest part is being in front of a camera and kind of going with it, but like the more you practice consistently, and also asking like how bad do you want it, that you would kind of push aside the fear of like what other people would think of you, because that's also a thing that people are afraid of posting. It's like, oh, what are they gonna think of me? Like, what is my friends gonna think? Like, well, I didn't think of any of that when I first started. You just kind of have to do it. And it's easier. It definitely is easier said than done. But like, I saw this video recently where the guy was saying he was asked, what is the biggest lie that was told to you? And he was like, it's simple. And he's like, what's simple? He's like, no, that's the biggest lie that was told to me. It's like, oh no, it's not simple. Sorry. It is simple. So the lie is, it's not simple. And a lot of people overcomplicate things when it shouldn't even be that complicated.
Yeah.
Because we're so in our heads. And like, back to our point from earlier, it's like mental health is really important.
Yeah.
Overall. So.
And it is like funny, because I talked to another artist, and I was just like, you realize one of your best works that you think is the best is not as liked as to the audience as you would think. It's the one that you're just like, or you just really don't like that much, that does like skyrocket. You're just like, I was horrible in that. This is what you liked.
Yes. We were just talking about that with my homies. Like, it's a shit that you don't really try for that blows up. But that's the thing. It's weird, because I was thinking about it. I was like, TikTok hasn't been doing that well on my videos, but Instagram has been like pushing my videos out way more. But like, when I'm overthinking something, like, oh, I'm gonna post this, and I'm checking every second, then that's when it doesn't do well. But like, when I post, I totally forget about it, and I look back, I'm like, oh shoot, like 10K views or whatever. It's like it knows. It's so weird. It becomes like, yeah, no, you care about this one? Nah, we're not gonna push it out.
We're like, we're gonna hold off on that. But no, it happens like every time. Yeah. And I really kind of thought about it, because I was just like, is it just like a different form of releasing when it comes to the mind? We're just putting out there. We actually energetically let it go, so it's easier to receive by others as like an audience. Wow. So I was just like, is that why that happens?
Actually, yeah, for sure. Everything is, and I mean, we're gonna get a little spiritual here, but like, everything is, like, it's so, it's all connected in a way. So I don't agree with that.
Yeah, because I really did have to think about it. It's just like, sometimes like the really best views on anybody, or like the best art piece, like even going back to all the way to Andy Warhol, like some of his art pieces where he felt like, you know, he just put something out there, was more well received than something that he truly cared about. Of course, like, everything amplifies when you pass away. But no, I was just like, is it because we energetically detach, and we're just like, okay, I did it, I let it go, it's in the universe's hands, we're cool, you know? And it's like the algorithm. And I was just like, I think that's it.
Dude, that's it. That really is. Like, detachment. I think that goes for so many other things. So yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. And I was just like, man, as humans, we think so much. I was like, we just gotta let stuff go.
Right. Oh my gosh. You really got my brain like mind blown right now, for real.
Oh no, like, you should see me, like, I'm just in my like corner. I'm just like, why does this not? I was like, I was here for a good 30 minutes when I thought about that. I was like, it's a form of detachment
Yes.
that opens you up energetically to all your opportunities. And I was just like, huh, you could have told me that 15 years earlier.
Right? That's kind of like how we block our own blessings too, though. And it's so, okay, it's not, okay, it is simple. Like how I used to get myself through days where I was so hard on myself in the past, like, or even still today, I still use this. It's kind of like sit there and maybe close your eyes, but imagine a wall that you're kind of trying to break through. And on the other side of that wall, there's so many opportunities and blessings that you want, that you're asking for, but you're just not allowing yourself to because you're not necessarily thinking, or well, okay, here's an out. It's like you just look to your right and you, all along, you could have just walked around the wall, but you were too focused on how to get through it instead of just looking around and being like, oh, there's another way. So that's kind of how it is. It's like, we do that to ourselves because we're human.
I call my mom. I was like, I'm having the theory of Pac-Man because you know back in the day, Pac-Man, you had to go through the maze.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm at the Pac-Man wall where I'm just like hitting it and like nothing was just like going, and I was like, oh, I just have to move left and right and then you're fine. No, I think I was just like, man. And once you have like that inner peace of knowing that, hey, like my mindset's cool, but sometimes we get like a little slip up. But but once you energetically let it go, like the universe is just like, oh, here, the door's open.
Yeah, like it's been open all along.
Yeah, we were waiting on you. Like,
exactly.
Right, you're right. So no, I think that's great. And then one video that I really liked is when you had the Superman. It was like not Superman, it was like Spider-Man.
Oh, Spider-Man.
Yeah. And hi Kenny.
I know.
Mine's like in his little bed and he's just like, when is this interview over? I'm like, you're fine. No, I love how you showed like the green screen. Like how did you meet everybody, or was that like some of your friends?
Ooh, so Jeremy, he's actually International Spider-Man on TikTok. And his story is that like he accidentally got famous and he blew up and went viral because he was Spider-Man on TikTok without a face. So we met because he's actually in the Bay Area as well. Okay. And that's where I'm from. So then, I mean, we just decided to link up since we're local, and it's kind of rare for people to be in the Bay. Like, you would think he's in LA. Yeah. Because, like, everybody goes there. Yeah. So that's how we met, is basically through social media. And then my homie Brian, who always helps with my videos, I've known him for a while now because we went to school together, but we didn't really actually connect till after when I posted a story a long time ago about needing a PA for a set, and he just happened to reach out, and then we connected from there. And he's like one of my best friends now. So
isn't that funny how like the people that you meet in certain stages of a season of your life link with you to help grow like in a couple other seasons?
Yes.
It blows my mind because I have a friend that I was in high school with her, and we, you know, after high school you really don't talk to anybody after that. So I got a job, and I was there for like a couple of years, and it's like a big company, so you don't really know like people by name, like everybody. It's like over like 10,000 people. And she became my boss, which was funny because I was just like, hey, I know you. And we're like best friends, but we didn't speak too much like in high school. But now that, you know, we've actually worked together, like she's one of my closest friends. And I was just like, who would have thought? You know, but it's just funny how that happens. But no,
actually, say that real quick. It's like there was a point of my life where I was like pretty depressed and I was losing friends a lot, and I was wondering. But then I realized, looking back now, at the time I was losing friends, I was also gaining such beautiful like souls into my life.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are like the seasons. It's kind of like we don't really align anymore, and that's okay. Like these people were my best friends and I've lost them. But you know, now that I look back at it, it was obviously for a reason. We weren't really on the same path anymore, and
Yeah.
it didn't serve me any purpose. So acceptance, and it's fine. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And you know, and to add to that point, I hello.
Right.
Um I've also experienced that even with, you know, starting this. I think people think when we say like the intentional of the departure of a relationship, regardless platonic or not, that does not mean you're a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
Like not being friends anymore is not saying like what did I do? Like it's their spirit.
Yeah.
It's just like you just don't align anymore. And the type of evolving that the other person is doing, it's just not on the same energetic field.
Right.
It's not saying that you're less than. It's just some people just grow like this
Mm-hmm.
instead of like this.
Back.
And it's not, I'm sorry, I'm a person who uses her hands
Oh, me
sometimes.
too. If I wasn't on my phone, I'd be using my hands.
I'm like, I have to do that. But no, and people find it offensive. And I was just like, maybe it's offensive because it's something that you haven't healed from. And it's like maybe stemming from a trigger that you need to investigate yourself. But it's nothing wrong. And people come to your life and people think sometimes that they have to stay forever. A lot can happen in people's lives where it's just like you just bounce around. And when it goes to like the job front where, you know, jobs are just looked upon like, oh, you had this job, you had this job,
Mm-hmm.
and you had this job, and like what's it called, job hopping.
Yeah.
And how it used to look frowned upon, but it's just like people just flow in different ways. It's not frowned upon. It's like they have different interests.
Yeah.
But
No.
So one question I have for you is, what is your favorite setup for whenever you shoot like your short films, or do you have like a favorite one? Because I saw the one on the car. I'm like, how does she like mount that? That's my favorite one because I'm like, how is she mounting that thing on there? You were just like pushing in the door. I'm like,
oh yeah. It was a car mount. I have it right here actually.
Oh.
So,
Nice. Yeah.
But I mean, I was terrified. Let me tell you that much. How they would normally rig up a camera on a car is like they have so much support, but this was just like 3 suction cups and me driving super slow. It didn't look like I was driving fast because I did that editing trick where I just sped it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just use a car mount for those shots. Use just the sun as lighting.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm filming other things like things at home, usually it's just my C-stand on my camera, especially for the overhead shots. But right now, I actually am filming in the middle of this. But I have like my key light above there with because it helps. And then kind of I just have the audio, my teleprompter because Lord knows I can't memorize shit. And then yeah, I mean that's kind of my main setup. I don't really like to use lighting too much, especially in my videos, because I know a lot of people are very limited to that. And I do want people to understand with my content that you don't need all the gear. Like you could really just take out your phone and kind of copy what I did in a way or be inspired. But yeah, that's kind of it. My camera is my favorite thing.
That's great because it always looks so effortless. And I was looking into what's it called? It's not is it called the Da Vinci?
Yeah, like the Da Vinci where people are moving from Premiere from. People are transferring to Da Vinci.
Yeah.
Now.
Well, that's where I was just kind of like, do you see like the differences where, you know, because I'm like a pro girl all day, every day.
Yeah.
So I was looking into that. I was just like, is it just the easier processing and the lag time? Because I know that was like the biggest thing when it first came out. It's just like, what is the difference between the two? And like, what would you, because I know you've probably done your investigation as well, like what would you say like would be different?
So I do use Da Vinci for coloring, especially, well, not for my short form stuff, for long form like a documentary or narrative that I work on. I think a lot of people are transferring because the layout is just so much more cleaner. There's tabs on the bottom that make it super convenient for especially a beginner editor. And then the coloring is so much, it's way better, obviously. But like Premiere, there are some, I've never had this issue recently where a lot of people are getting crashes on Premiere, and that's why they're moving over to DaVinci's, because DaVinci's processing is way smoother than Premiere's. So I haven't officially moved yet, but no,
We're not
we're
saying
not.
that we're we like everybody as a family.
Yeah, we do. We're all different. We like
I
to use
mean,
it for different things.
yeah, I mean, like it's kind of like when it first came out, it kind of gave the same energy between like Nikon and Canon when that was like the big debate. I was just like, what you like,
Right.
you use one, what you have, as long as you can use a DSLR and not mess it up, I think you're fine.
For sure.
You just have the right lens.
Yeah. I know. So,
No, but so what is the next step? Like, what is the next step for your production team? Or, are you pivoting to, I know you say you're working on like a documentary series, which I'm excited about whenever you put it out there. But are you thinking about maybe doing like any film festivals or, because you're a wonderful teacher. And I know you say you never want to be a teacher, but like, I honestly think that you're a wonderful teacher, and that's one thing people subscribe to because you're very relatable. And I'm just wondering, like, how far are you going to take that? Do you have any plans for like teaching a class once in a while, or having like, how, what's it called? It's like this app where it's called Masterclass, where you have like,
oh yeah,
Issa Rae, Anna Wintour on there.
love her. Oh my God. Jesus. Yeah. Yo, honestly, I do. Like, I want to drop a course or a few courses eventually. I already have like everything written out. I've had it written out since the beginning of this year, and I just kind of took it to YouTube first, kind of build audience there, and then leverage into an online course. But I don't know if you know Moment. They're like a film gear company.
Yeah, I still have one of the cameras that I use on my phone.
Oh, sick.
Yeah.
I'm planning to potentially collab with them to sell like just a one-time course that people could buy. But yeah, so down the road, I definitely want to sell courses. I think the biggest next step is Adobe Max and teaching in a live audience here, step by step. So that's something I'm really practicing on. And prior to leading up to that, I am planning to go live on my YouTube very soon, probably next month, just to kind of gauge like how it is editing live with a live audience. So like if people wanted to join, it'll be on my YouTube, and that way I'm kind of going through my process of how I edit my videos, because that is what the Adobe Max will be about. So something similar to that, just so I could get a feel for what it's going to be like.
Nice. Yeah. Well, that's amazing. Also, I love Moment. I feel like Moment is like, whenever I talk about it, they're just like, what? I'm like, Moment's, I know it's been around for a good minute, y'all. It doesn't mean that I'm old, but Moment, I always like it because I like using their lenses in their cases whenever I travel. Oh. So at the time, like, I didn't want to take like my DSLR, or like at the time I didn't have the best phone quality because I didn't have the best phone.
Right.
So the lens attachments, super easy, just pop and done, and then you can just literally have a DSLR like on your phone. And I love that company. I think that's great.
Dude, yeah. So I'm super excited for that. And yeah, that's a big thing too. Like if people feel like they're limited to their phones, add some attachments to it. That would really help like the quality of the video.
I think so too. So another thought for TikTok users who are starting out in their regardless of content of, the lighting and, talking about whatever their niche or content is, like, what was your best setup? Like, layout, because you always have, like, good tips and tricks on, like, creating your own teleprompter.
Yeah.
And, you carry the motive of just like, you got to work with what you got, you
Right.
know,
Yeah.
because that's also very relatable, because, you know, like during COVID, we had to work with what we had and like use the best capability.
For sure.
So it's just like, what would be like the best that you've seen on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, the best layout to receive, like, you know, a better response of quality of the content?
Kind of like how, that's a good question.
Because I've seen different ones.
Yeah.
I was just like,
Wait, what do you mean by that? Like setup as in kind of
like camera setting, like different lighting setting. Like some people, I've noticed a plant is involved in their, you know, talking. I was just like, there's a lot of plants going on.
Yeah.
It's just like an energy thing. I'm feeling it, but I'm like, I'm seeing a lot.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you don't need the plant. I promise.
Yeah. To your point, yeah, I think that's a really good point, is like not having too much in your frame. Lighting wise, if you do have the kind of the equipment or gear for it, like separating yourself from the background really helps. Like I wouldn't suggest to sit up against like a flat wall. I would kind of push your chair away or create some depth. I think that's the key word, is like creating depth in your videos. Even if you're doing lifestyle videos or like especially filmmaking videos, is separate yourself from the background and don't be so up against it. That'll help create that depth. And also, if you don't have any lighting, use your windows or like natural lighting that comes in. That could be really useful, especially if you're limited on gear. And then for iPhones or like just your phone in general, never use your front selfie camera. Like we all know that. It's very, the quality is just worse than the rear camera that you should be using. And there's so many hacks to that, to using your phone, is like, and being able to see yourself is plugging into your laptop and like being able to see how you're framing it. That way you don't have to go back and forth and like I don't know if that's helpful, but I would say that I'm just speaking based on like limitations that people may have with gear, and just kind of being helpful on that end with that stuff.
No, I think it's simple enough. It's because I tried the hack where you have to plug your phone into the camera or your TV if you're trying to mirror something.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I hate the lag.
Right.
Like the lagging like messes up your flow if you're just trying to catch up. You're like, did it get okay, got it. So that like messed up my flow for the biggest thing. But the mirroring wasn't that bad. It was, I think there's like certain apps that are free now that you can do where it's just like a little bit smoother. But no, I think creating depth in your quality video, and you know, just to add a little bit more dimension, because sometimes like for me in my content, I rather have like my words be the focal point.
Right.
So I think it's just like one thing to stand out is just like, just have quality.
Yeah.
You know, I think there was one where, and it gets me every time because he has like maybe more than 100K. I know that for sure. But it's just him in a red light, not even showing his face, and just talking. And I'm like, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how you did it, but like you have over 100K followers, and I'm like, I don't know what you're doing in the dark, but the red light looks cool. It's just
who is that creator? I feel like, do they just do nothing in the red light?
Yeah. Do you know
really?
Like he doesn't, like sometimes he talks, sometimes he doesn't. I'm just like, I think the engagement is that you have to sit there to see if he's gonna do something, and I was like, that's brilliant, because I've been staring at this red light for a good minute, and I'm like, way to build engagement, sir.
That is funny.
Right? And he's getting like tons of views because like,
I'm curious.
I have to send it to you, but I was just like, they do absolutely nothing. And I'm like, how? And it goes back to the fact it's just like, it's not that hard.
Yeah. Really,
It
but
really,
you're having fun with it. I think that's the key thing is like having fun with your stuff and not
yeah.
overthinking and just doing it because you want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think, doing it because you want to do it, and then like having the mindset behind it of just letting go, having the detachment and everything. But
Yeah.
one question before you do leave, because I know we're almost up because Instagram has a time limit.
Bro.
Um, how, what is your thoughts about content creation all looking the same, regardless of whatever niche that you pick? What is the best way to stand out? Because I know for me, like you have the lifestyle vloggers, you have like the typical UGC creators. After a while, they all just kind of flow the same.
Dude, yeah.
So,
Actually thinking about that earlier because I'm seeing the yellow font everywhere. Like everything is kind of looking the same, and I think that's why I try to create things that I want to see that
mm-hmm.
like that are kind of out of the ordinary in a way.
Yeah.
Dang, I was gonna say something. Yeah, kind of along those lines. It's like, dang, I'm blanking out. What was I gonna say? uh, yeah, just kind of creating things that you want to see. I was gonna say something good. I forgot what it
Why don't
was.
you
But
say like in the last 5 minutes?
I know, I know, literally. Um, I guess that's what I was gonna say. In a way, it's kind of like create what you want to see because it is. There are a lot of similar things out there, and I think it's just. Oh, there you go. If as long as you're providing value, I feel like, and you're staying true to you and how you are on and off camera, then that's how people resonate with you and want to see more of your stuff because one, you're probably providing value. Two, it maybe looks cool. Three, and it's something different, something that they haven't known before they watched your video. So I think that's what it is. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of similar things. That's why I'm trying to create things that I want to see myself that are just kind of new in a way, because it could get overwhelming seeing similar things happen on my timeline.
I,
That's
and it's not to negate because people are just like, it works. It does work to build engagement. It does work to get the views. But after a while, I'm just like, I was on TikTok like scouting like different people. I was just like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm in the Matrix because everything's literally looking the same. And I'm like I'm like, am I having a stroke?
oh my god, I get those moments all the time. I scroll and literally the freaking I don't know 10 videos that I scroll past. I'm like, wait, did I see this already? But
Mm-hmm.
it's a different video with the same exact concept or like style.
Yes, and then like it goes to the debate. It's like, well, this person said the exact same thing, and I said it first. I'm like, y'all all said it.
Yeah, I mean, I
Well,
think that's the thing too. Like people do. I've seen these comments. Like I don't know if you know Adrian Per. Like he's a really great filmmaker,
yeah,
and he's actually started doing the car videos. And when everybody else started doing it, I saw comments and was like, "Oh, you guys are copying him." Blah blah blah. I don't think there's no such thing as like copying. Like they're inspired by his work, so they wanted to go try it. He just started something that nobody else thought of doing. And yeah, I think that's just a lot of people hating in a way. So I think it's just based on
yeah,
inspiration. It's kind of like, oh, okay, well, I'm inspired by whatever they did, so let me try that out.
yeah. And it's hard to, especially in a world where it's mass production everywhere you see.
Yeah.
So automatically you're going to associate that with like, oh my gosh, this person's copying everything. I was like, if we honestly think about that, we're copying like 25,000 every millisecond of the day.
Right.
Like, okay, hello, algorithm and AI. It's just like we're copied every freaking time. Like,
Yeah.
if you have an iPhone, your photo's being taken every 5 seconds by, Reddit, whatever.
Right.
I'm just saying, like, people, I think nowadays, because social media is very saturated of how to be seen, when you're going to get seen, how to get engagement, and how to get monetized off it.
Yeah.
I think people get so caught off of like, I did the same thing and they get like this many views. I'm just like, okay, well, I think it's because you tried to look like somebody else, but that's not really you. Like, that's not your vibe. And people know,
Yeah,
you
people
know?
know. And I think that's also the detachment, the energy detachment you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Also just kind of sticking to what you want to do. I mean, it's okay to try it out, but like that also goes to imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
We're like, well, it didn't work for me. Why is it working for them? It's like, how about you tell yourself, well, I tried. On to the next. What do I want to do? Like instead of comparing.
Like move on. Like I know that I'm a quirky person who likes art and talking to people. Yeah. So there you go, non-niche. That's how it's created. Now, do I have 1,000K whatever? No, but I love like connecting and supporting people. It's just like you just have to find your own way. Like hopefully I get there, but it's just that you just have to put yourself out there, and I always say like the right people are going to see you anyway.
Fact. And yeah, I mean, I love what you're doing. I'm very passionate about wanting to get to know other creators too. Like, it's such a big thing. Like, community is big, and I think that's the key to success. Is like you can't go far alone, so you might as well start meeting other people who you could get further with. So.
Yeah, it's like from our favorite creator, Issa Rae. She's just like, stop trying to reach out to. I wish I knew the interview was she said it, but it's just like stop trying to reach up and start reaching around you, because that's how you're gonna get forward. Because you need to start pulling people where you are at, so y'all can go in the same place. Because you're like, oh, cool, you want to work on a project? You're also an actor. I'm a film person. You do lighting and stuff. Like let's go. Let's make something.
Yeah.
And put out there, because that builds all of your portfolios. And I think that's why I wanted to carry the energy of non-niche, of being like a big community, because I'm like, I want y'all engaged with each other,
right?
Like that's what this is about. It's like networking. It's about getting to know, like, hey, like I need some help with this, I know you know how to do this, like staying connected. You can't do things by yourself. And I know that was like the biggest lesson for me. Like, I'm the only one to get myself out of here. No, the world is about connecting, communicating, and networking. Yeah. Like organically, so.
Dude, heck yeah. You said it. Preach it. Because definitely, I mean, that's a big thing. Just leveraging other people who are good at their job and who love to do what they do and what you lack in what you don't want to do. So it's always best to grab people who are experts or, love what they do.
And then, like, everybody just needs to lighten up. It's
simply put it, yes, they just need to lighten up.
Just lighten up. It's all right. You good? You're creative. But no, like, I honestly truly appreciate you so much, and you always have the best energy and quality about yourself that I just truly admire. And I'm so glad I got to sit with you and and talk to you this week, because I'm like, if I don't do this, I'm never going to talk to them.
It was definitely gonna happen. Like, when we met on Zoom, it was just like, I gotta do this. Like, she is so dope. So I'm hoping to meet you in person sometimes. Where are you at again?
I'm in Dallas, but
oh shit.
Yeah, so what I was thinking about, which I'll probably talk to you off camera, because I do have an idea for you.
Oh.
And I was just like, because I'm about to pull some networking things. I don't know. It's something to think about. But no, I just love your energy, and I'm so appreciative that you came on here. And it looks like you also have some fans in the comments, so I'm definitely going to connect you that way and point them out. But no, I really appreciate your time, and I know you're a busy gal, and you're doing so many great things and inspiring others, including myself. So I really, really appreciate you coming on here and just talking with me.
Thank you. No, thank you. I appreciate you. It was an honor being on here, and thank you for what you do. I'm loving what you're doing, and you're gonna go so far with it. And I'm excited to witness it for sure.
Well, thank you so much. But no, I'm gonna message you on my idea.
Please, because I have some things I want to come talk to you about too. So
nice. And I'm like, also, like, every time I interview people or speak to them, like, you can talk to me. I'm not going to stop talking to you. Like, I'm here to support you. So if you have any new stuff that you need help pushing out, like, let me know, message me. I'm going to be on your page anyway and going to do it without you asking. So I'm just here to
and likewise too, but for sure, we'll definitely connect, because there's a potential collaboration there down the road.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, and I hope you enjoy it. Is it nighttime for you? I'm really bad with time zones.
No, it's 8 o'clock.
Oh,
but what is it?
okay. There you go.
No, thank you.
It's like,
I know it's late over there, so I appreciate you for
yeah.
doing this.
All
All
right.
right.
Well,
Thank
have a
you.
good rest of your night, and thank you again. And I'll post the full interview on YouTube for anyone who missed out, because this was a great one. I just love you so much, so I just thank you again.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.